Okay, good morning. I want to welcome everybody to our endorsement interview for State Senate District 11. Right now we have Joshua Dowden. Joshua, first off, hope everything is going good. And want to thank you very much for participating in this endorsement interview. I know life is pretty crazy right now. There's a lot of interesting things going on. So greatly appreciate you taking the time to come meet with us and answer some of our questions. At this time, what I would like you to do is I'm going to give you 10 minutes to just introduce yourself, say who you are, a little background about yourself, and why exactly you are running for State Senate District number 11.
Gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity. Like I said, I haven't studied for this particular exam, but I am an American patriot. I come from a family of American patriots. My father was in Vietnam. My grandfather was in World War II. My great-grandfather was in World War I. And my brother was just in the United States Navy. I greatly admire our men and women in the services. Our veterans are incredibly important to the fabric of our society. So I very much appreciate this opportunity to be in front of everyone today. My name is Joshua Dowden. I am a 20-year Las Vegas resident. I'm a single father of two young adults that are, one is in University of Nevada, Reno right now, and the other has decided to take a year off of school right now, but both of my children live in Reno, but have graduated here locally. I'm a local businessman. I'm a financial advisor by trade, but I have continued to follow local politics. I am running for elected office because our local offices, our local politics mean more to our state and to each individual that lives here in Las Vegas and in Nevada than our national politics do. And I know that may not be a popular opinion, but it's true, is that what happens here at the local level, what happens here at the state level directly impacts our lives. And as a local businessman, as a single father, these issues are very important to me. I'm running because we are 49th in education. That is embarrassing, and we can do better. As Nevadans, we are better, and we need to do better. I'm running because our healthcare here in the state needs improving. We need to attract more doctors and physician's assistants and nurses. We train plenty of them, here at our universities, but we need to keep them opening up practices here in the state. And I'm running because I know local businesses thrive here in Las Vegas, and they thrive here in Nevada, and we need to continue to support them. We need to continue to attract businesses. We need to continue to encourage the growth of our great state and of our great city. We were one of the fastest growing cities in the country. It's because it's attractive to be here in Nevada, and as a businessman, I understand that, and we need to continue to encourage and foster that. That's why I'm running.
Okay, thank you. My first question to you is then, it's a two-part question. Is this the first time you've run for office?
Yes.
Okay, so you, in your introduction, you brought up that local politics is more important than national politics. And I agree with you on that. But if local politics is more important, and why are you not running for the Assembly? Because the Assembly is more local than the State Senate.
So that's a great question. The Senate has a great impact. I won't say greater, but it has a great impact on politics at the state level, to where I am a Las Vegan. There's no getting around that. I love Las Vegas. Las Vegas is it's an amazing city. I never envisioned leaving Las Vegas, but I'm a Nevadan. And as a Nevadan, running for state senate encompasses all of Nevada. And so I want to encourage all of Nevada to be as great as what we can be. I want to help all of Nevada be as great as what we can be, not just specifically Las Vegas.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to follow up with that real quick. So can you give the viewers and listeners the boundaries of your state, because you basically said that it encompasses the entire state of Nevada. I don't believe the state Senate does encompass all of Nevada.
It's a great question, and thank you for allowing me to expand on that and get a little more specific. So my geographic area is Desert Inn to Robindale, I-15 to Durango, more or less. There's some little variances, there. So that's my specific, area. But in the state Senate, I would have an opportunity to have a greater impact on the entire state, not just my geographic area. Certainly, I want to represent my geographic area, and I will represent my geographic area. But as a state senator, I would represent the entire state, and I would have a greater impact on politics on the state level.
Okay, thank you.
How you doing, Joshua? So one of my quick questions for you, first ones is, Nevada spent $860,000 of the taxpayers' money to build an execution chamber that's never been used. On average, it cost $1,800 to keep an inmate in prison for 1 year. So over a 30-year span, it's over $500,000 to incarcerate one murderer, just one. $500,000. It almost cost us the full $1,000,000 for the execution chamber. So in executing two people, the taxpayers' money would have been put to proper use. The families would have seen justice. And do you think that it is justice and right that Thomas Cash, who stabbed Ezekiel Devine on December 14th, his family now has to pay to feed and house the person who killed their son and took him away from his brother? What would you do about that?
So is the question, do I think that's right? It's absolutely not. What would I do about that is that everybody deserves their day in court. So we certainly want to make sure that the laws that are passed are adhered to, and that we make sure to give everybody their due process. So we certainly want to make sure that we give everybody the opportunity to present their case. Everybody is guilty or innocent until proven guilty. But now I believe the question is, what happens when they are proven guilty? So should we fast track people that have been convicted? I think that we need to make sure to follow the process that's in place. People do have their appeals, and we want to make sure that we give them, if they deserve another day in court, we want to make sure to give them that. However, should we make sure to punish the guilty? Yes. Yes, we should. Should the people that are footing the bill, the taxpayers, should they be made to continue to foot this bill when people are clearly guilty? No, they shouldn't. No. Should we punish the people that have already been convicted? I believe that we should.
Good afternoon. My name is Giano, and my question is, what makes you feel that you're qualified for this position?
Well, I guess that's a pretty lengthy answer. I mean, initially, and this is going to be pretty basic, is that I'm a Las Vegas resident. I'm a Nevada resident. I'm a father who's raised 2 kids here. I care about the community. I'm a businessman, so I've seen firsthand what it takes to hire, train, retain people, what it takes to stimulate the economy. As a citizen, I've seen firsthand what it's like to find a new doctor. As a citizen, I've seen firsthand what the education system is like. So what makes me specifically qualified for this is I have been a businessman in Las Vegas for 20 years. I am uniquely qualified when it comes to the economy. That's what I do specifically for a living as a financial advisor. As a single father, I've seen the challenges of what it takes to raise kids here in Nevada, being 49th in the nation. While it may be concerning to a lot of people, I want to do something about that. I think that our children need to understand what their rights are. I think our children need to understand what their constitutional rights are and what they can do. And I think they need a better opportunity when they graduate high school to make sure that there are jobs out there waiting for them. So what makes me qualified for that is that I feel like I have the pulse of the city. I feel like I have the pulse of the state, and I feel like I understand what the direction is that we need to go.
Okay, my next question is, how do you feel about criminal law reform and also healthcare law reform. And what would you do to make a difference if elected to Congress?
So criminal reform, that's going to be a very nuanced answer. So criminal reform, should the guilty be punished? Yes. Should the people that deserve a second opportunity get that? That's up to the people that are making the case for that. I don't believe that people should continue to have opportunity after opportunity after opportunity when the cases are clear. In those cases. So criminal reform, that's not a simple answer. So it's a very delicate answer. It's a very detailed answer. I think that people that are found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt deserve to be punished. Do they deserve a second opportunity? Absolutely. When they get out of prison, if their sentence is when they have paid their debt to society, then absolutely they deserve those chances when they pay their debt to society. If they do not get that opportunity, if they have been sentenced to death, for example, or life, then there needs to be that sort of reform in prison that helps them become whoever it is they're going to become, whether they get out of prison or not. Healthcare reform, that's going to be, in my opinion, a little bit easier, when it comes to that. So we need to make access to our healthcare professionals more prevalent. We need to attract more healthcare professionals to the state. We need to make sure that healthcare professionals have the resources that they need here in the state, and we need more of them, frankly. We need to make it a more attractive destination for our healthcare professionals, and that's going to alleviate a lot of the logjam that people have when it comes to getting healthcare. We also need to make it more attractive for doctors to have the specific autonomy with their patients that they need. They need to have that doctor-patient relationship. And while I realize there's a lot of that right now, when somebody like the governor can say, we're going to put a specific, I'm going to say moratorium, but we're going to stop prescribing a specific drug, those should be up to the doctors and the patients. That shouldn't be up to the politicians. And we need to be able to give the doctors that autonomy. We need to be able to give the doctors that freedom to say this is what is the best for the patients.
This isn't on healthcare, but I do want to ask you a question, kind of based on how government in general works. And I know it works this way in the federal government, and unfortunately it works the way in the state as well. One of the hot button issues that came up years ago was the stadium, whether we should fund it through taxpayer dollars or not, right? And there was a lot of opposition to that initially by a lot of Republican politicians. But then what ended up happening is that they tied the convention money to the stadium. And so if those politicians wouldn't have voted for the stadium, then they wouldn't have gotten the funding to expand the convention center, which would have had a major impact on the financial situation in Las Vegas. As a state senator, is there anything you could do or a bill you could propose to try to stop these rider bills that continually happen?
So if I understand the question correctly, would this be additional items that are placed on a bill? Pork.
Yes,
correct. Pork. I am adamantly opposed to pork. I think that bills should stand on their own merits. So should a bill be introduced that gets interjected into another bill because the larger bill is more likely to get passed? No, it should not. You should not be able to interject bills that have little or nothing to do with the larger bill. I'm adamantly opposed to that.
Is there anything you could do as a state senator? Is there a bill that you would propose? Chances are, I'm just going to be honest with you, I doubt it would pass. But is there a bill that you would try to at least introduce to at least get the ball started on this?
Yes, emphatically. So what could I do as a state senator in order to further that? So I would agree with you to where if I introduced a bill, would I get some support? Probably not. Would I get some opposition? Yeah, most likely, that I would. So what I would do is I would be outspoken in that arena, is that people that want to, legislators that want to propose pork, I would make sure to stand out and call those people out. I would not be afraid to say this assembly person or this senator, this politician is the one who wants this specific pork. If that issue is so important, let it stand on its own merits, and I have no issue calling those people out.
Okay, thank you for that. Basically, I have one last question for you. So as far as your state Senate district, what's the, well, first off, are you running, what political party are you running as? And then what's the party breakdown in your district?
I'm a Republican, and I'll just say that I'm at a disadvantage in my district, but there are plenty of nonpartisans that make up the difference. So I do have an opportunity to win. I do need to tap into the nonpartisans in order to do that, and I would need a significant portion of the nonpartisans in order to win.
All right, another question for you. So hate crimes are basically considered assaulting, going at somebody, hurting somebody who is different than you of something you hate. Skin color, religion, ideologies, different things like that. Would you be opposed to stopping college campuses allowing hate crimes against individuals who have different political views than another party?
So first off, I want to go on the record as saying that discrimination and bigotry should be condemned in all of its forms. You should not actively be bigotry. You should not actively pursue or be bigoted or hate people or discriminate. That's what I was looking for. Sorry. You should not actively discriminate towards people just because they're different than you. That is not. That should be condemned in all of its forms. So. I do believe in the First Amendment. I do believe that the First Amendment, I'm a First Amendment absolutist, is that you should be able to say and should be able to say the things that you want to say with no restrictions to that whatsoever. If that hurts somebody else's feelings, that's unfortunate, to do that. But you should be able to say what you want to say, whether that's on a college campus or anywhere else. The First Amendment is a very, very, very powerful thing. That's probably why it's first.
Well, I get the hate speech thing. That's not my question. My thing is hate crime, an actual physical altercation of assaulting another person simply because they have a different expressed verbal political view than you. It happens on college campuses all the time. Speakers go there, they get assaulted, they get heckler vetoed just because they have a different view of students on the campus. What would you do in passing something to stop people, or at least actually actively going after people who assault other people physically, not verbally, but physically, and they tell you the simple reason is because, well, they're of the left, I'm of the right, I'm of the right, they're of the left, or vice versa? What would you do about that? Because that's a hate crime. You're hating them because of something different than you. It's no different than their religion or their skin color. What would you do about that?
Again, these are atrocious crimes. They should be condemned on all of their levels. What would I do about that specifically is I think that if you assault somebody, you should be punished. I think that if you injure somebody, you should be punished. Should there be additional punishment on there because of your motives? I think there should be significant deterrence, and there should be significant punishment just because of what it is that you did. Why would something have to be worse because of the motive? If you did something egregious, you should be punished. If there's laws on the books that says that these are illegal, and certainly assault, is, then that's what your punishment should be. I don't know that we should nitpick this is more egregious than that. They're all egregious. If you are assaulting somebody, that's terrible. You should not be impeding on somebody's right to pursue their happiness. You should not be physically assaulting people. You should not be accosting people. Those are all awful. If you're asking me if I would do something specifically for that, what makes one assault more deadly than the next? They're all bad. They should all be condemned. You should be punished to the fullest extent of the law.
Okay, so my next question is, and just so you know, I personally believe that our borders should be safe. But if the tables were turned and the only place to keep your children and your family safe was to illegally cross into the Mexico or Canada border, what would you do? Like if you literally only had one day to think about it and you had to cross over into Mexico or Canada, how would you handle that situation?
I'm not sure I understand.
So what I'm asking is, I'm sure everybody here is willing to do anything to keep their children safe. So what I'm saying is, if you only had 24 hours to think about it and to keep your family safe and alive with this pandemic that's going on right now, would you illegally cross into into Canada or into our southern border?
So I agree with the first part of that premise, is that we would as parents do anything that we necessary to take care of our children. I don't know that I'm going to answer that second part of that question, because there's just far too many variances there. 24 hours, there's got to be more information. If there's a lack of information, if it's that specific scenario that you gave me, somebody tells me, if Giano tells me you've got 24 hours to vacate the premises and go to Mexico, I'm not sure that I would. I would need significantly more information than that. I mean, if you're telling me, if Giano is telling me that you need to go to Mexico, your family's going to die, I would need some more information on that.
Well, yeah, but then what I'm saying is, it's not if somebody's threatening you. What I'm saying is, we have a pandemic going on right now in United States.
Like right now.
Right now. Okay. So if it
Like
were
the
to get
pandemic
worse,
right now.
yes,
Okay.
right now. That's the only pandemic I've ever heard of in our lifetime that we've ever been going through. So my question is, if you had to illegally cross to keep your family safe, would you do it?
Again, I'm not going to answer that question, because there's just way too many variances there. Would I, in a case to where I was facing certain death, if I was facing certain death, I think in any situation you're going to do whatever's necessary to keep your family safe. But in this case right here, if you're asking me what I would do today, if the governor or the president said you need to vacate, right now, I'm not sure that I would. I'm not sure that in the specific case, when I woke up this morning, what's happening right now, no, I'm not sure that I would leave the city or leave the state. I think that America is the greatest nation in the history of the world. I think that this gives me right here my best chance for success. I think this right here gives me my the best protections that I could possibly ask for right here, and I'm not sure that I could envision a scenario to where that is going to change.
Yeah, I just have that. Okay, so basically, I've been talking to a lot of people, Democrats, Republicans, about all the stuff that's going on. I just want your personal opinion on this. I'm sure that Governor Sisolak is stressed out of his mind. I mean, this is something this is unheard of. We haven't had to deal with this stuff by now. But just a general question. Do you think that Governor Sisolak really truly has the right to decide what essential business is? Which businesses should be open and which aren't? And specifically as it relates to churches.
So, politics aside, Governor Sisolak, as well as President Trump and all 50 governors, are in a very, very difficult position right now. So we should all pray that they make the best decisions that can possibly be made with the information that they have. To the heart of your question, should Governor Sisolak or any other governor be able to say these are essential businesses or not? The easy answer to that is no. No, they shouldn't. What makes a business essential? I know plenty of business owners. That's their livelihood. That's pretty essential to them. Are they going to be able to get relief in time to where their businesses don't collapse? Some, maybe. Others, no. Some of the people that I know, their businesses won't reopen. That is despair. That is destruction for these folks. They might as well catch, a virus that's going to kill them, because their businesses are going to be dead. Their finances are going to be ruined. So that's pretty essential if you ask them. That's an essential business. It's a very difficult situation that we're in. This is unprecedented that we're in right now. So again, we should all pray that we make the right choices. But this is very difficult. Should a governor or government decide which businesses are essential. I guess I'm saying no to that, is that we should decide which is essential. We should decide, we vote with who we go see, who we patronize, where we spend our money. We decide who is, in a free society, that's how we decide who's essential and who isn't. We're all essential. Ask somebody who owns a business, are they essential? They're going to tell you yes. That's how they make their living. I feel like I'm essential. I feel like you're essential. We're all essential. So it is difficult, to do that. So to answer your question, no. Governor Sisolak should not be able to decide who's essential. We all are.
So you spoke multiple times about education and making Nevada attractive for nursing and new businesses and things like that. Would you be open to passing a bill or getting something passed that would make it to where if you were going to get a degree, you only need to take classes relative to that degree so that you know specifically the field you're going into, what it's about, and you get rid of all the, like you said on the bill, all the pork. You get rid of all the pork off their education. If they're going for business management or nursing, they shouldn't have to pay the college thousands of dollars for books that are written by the teachers who's prescribed their own books for the class syllabus on a subject that's not going to matter when they're poking into someone's veins or have somebody underneath the trauma knife. Would you be open to doing something that would not only decrease the taxpayers' issues with UNLV, but the student loan issues to where students only got the degree and only did classes based upon the degrees they were searching for?
No. That's the easy answer to that. There's a far more complex answer to that, is that first off, less government is better. So passing legislation that makes people do one thing over another, whether it's students or anything like that, not sure that I'm a big fan of that. Certainly I would need to see that legislation. But again, if you're telling people what they can and can't do, I am a freedom Republican, and I will stand by that. I am for freedoms of choice. You're allowed to make these choices. To the second part of that, or to part of your question, am I okay with faculty writing the curriculum for something that you're never going to need on that? No, I'm not particularly okay with that either. I'm a free market capitalist. I think that the way that education is functioning right now is anything but. It's anything but free market. I think free market principles need to be introduced in education. I think that education needs to be changed significantly so that there are more choices, so that there's more freedom, so that more what I would think that what you're going after is that you're going to study and look for things that you are going to be interested in for your degree, but you're going to have the freedom to do that. Would I be sponsoring legislation that makes people do that? Not sure that I'm comfortable with sponsoring legislation. Again, I'm for more freedom. I'm for less bureaucracy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right now, the students are forced to take classes that have nothing to do with their degree. I'm saying shorten the amount of time college would take, a year and a half off, if you took out the classes that are not necessary to their degree. If the student chooses to exercise their freedom to take those classes, the school could then charge for them. But the school doesn't get to require and take the freedom of choice away from the student, is what I'm asking.
So I think we're on the same page here. I'm just not sure that we have the same solution for that, which is, again, what dialogue is for, is what discussion is for. So would I be opposed to having students take classes that aren't necessary for their degree? Yes, if you don't need these specific classes, or if you don't need to take these courses to accomplish the degree that you want to, then no, you shouldn't be forced to take those. Would I be willing to pass legislation? I'd be more in favor of repealing legislation than I would be passing legislation for that.
Okay, so my question is, here in the district court, if you're facing incarceration, judges are pretty much required, if you can't afford an attorney, they're required to give you a free attorney. But in the family court here, they're not required to give you a free attorney. So would you sponsor a bill basically that either that we need jury trials, and also that litigants that are not able to pay for an attorney in the family courts, that they also get free attorneys?
So this is something I've got a decent amount of experience about. Being a single father who was awarded sole custody of his kids, I spent a lot of time in family court. Family court needs oversight. Family court needs some guidance. Legislation, again, I'm more for less government, so I would be hesitant to say that I would sponsor legislation. That's not to say that I wouldn't, but I would certainly be open to that. I think that family court has less guidance than what other courts do. They have less oversight than what other courts do. Would I be in favor of giving one of the parents, if they cannot afford an attorney at no cost? Yeah, I'd be in favor of that. I think that'd be a great idea. I showed up to court, and the judge told me I needed a lawyer. I was willing to go, by myself, and the judge says you need an attorney if you want to continue to proceed right here. I wasn't particularly happy about that. Anyway, that aside, I think yes, that you deserve representation. I think that the family courts need some oversight. I think that we need to look at family courts in general, and I think both parties need equal representation in the family courts.
Okay, and then also, what about jury trials? Do you think that it's fair that judges, if, let's say if they're biased towards one litigant or the other, they're basically going to go with whatever party they're not for. Do you think that we should possibly start having jury trials here in Clark County?
It sounds like a great idea on the surface. There's a lot of cost involved in that. Not that that should be the deciding factor. There's a lot of time that's involved in that. Again, not that that should be the deciding factor there either, but there's a lot of nuance to your question. I think that we can encourage parents on a basis to where they can talk to one another with mediators. But aside from that, I just think that there are some opportunities there that hopefully parents can work things out. But I think in that case, should we go to jury trials? That is definitely something that we should consider, right? The children need to be considered, before anything else. I mean, if two people are getting divorced and they don't have children, should there be a jury trial? Yeah, probably not. I don't think so. I think that if I'm understanding your question correctly, is that should we make sure to take the children into consideration above all others at all costs and of all time? The answer to that is yeah, absolutely we should. I think that the children in many cases are being neglected because we do have some biases in our society, and some judges are going to have some biases, and that's normal just for people to do that. So if we had a jury versus a judge, I think that we would get a more impartial look at what parents and what's the best for the children at that case.
Do either one of you guys have any more questions? I just have one final question. Okay, so Mr. Dowden, thank you very much for coming in. My final question is something that you, through one of your answers to fellow panel members, you brought up a really good idea that I had heard years ago. I don't know how easily this could get accomplished, but would you be willing to introduce a bill? This is something that I'm very much for limited government. And one of the things that I've discussed talking with peers and stuff over the years is I said, you know what would be nice? If there was a bill introduced and signed into law that basically stated we are not going to pass any new legislation until we get rid of all the old legislation that's no longer needed. That would be a phenomenal feat. I understand that. But is that something that you would take a look at if elected?
Absolutely. So I think that the president had a great idea when he said that if I'm going to sign new legislation if we're going to impose new regulations, I need to repeal old regulations. That was a fantastic idea. There are regulations and laws on the books right now that are outdated. Just some don't work. I think that government needs to be run more like a business. When people hear me say that, they're like, well, should we be running it for profit? No. Businesses are incentivized to get right to what works and cut out what doesn't. So we need to be incentivized to run government like that. What works, let's focus on that. What doesn't, let's cut that out. So to answer your question, yes, I would be in favor of that.
Okay, one last question for me. Since you do like less government, which seems to be a good thing, all states recognize every other state's driver's license. Would you be opposed, or would you be willing to get a bill passed that would make all states recognize other states' CCWs, or have just a universal CCW test that the person who wants to get the permit must pass that's recognized federally and state, and they can cross-carry across any state the same way they do their driver's license. Less government and more freedom for the people.
Absolutely. I don't even think I need you to expand on that. Absolutely, yes.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Dowden. That's all the questions we have for you. Right now, what I would like you to do, though, is if you just look into the camera and like you have plenty of time. But one of the things that I would like you to do is just state again why you're running, and then please why the voter should vote for you, and then also any contact information that you would like to give so the voters can get involved in your campaign.
And thank you, gentlemen, for this opportunity. My name is Joshua Dowden. Been in Las Vegas for 20 years. I moved here to Nevada to raise a family, to start a business. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to be successful in business and raise two wonderful kids, here in Nevada that have gone on to go to college up at UNR. I'm running for state senator for local government to do my part as a citizen. I'm running for local government because local politics are that important on your everyday lives. You should know who your local representatives are. You should know who these people are because they're in your communities. They are talking with you. They are holding town halls. They are giving you access to who they are. You are displaying your opinions, what is working within your specific communities and what aren't. If you don't know who your local politicians are, you should. That is why I'm running, is that you should know who we are. You should know what your community is like, what the pulse of your community is like. I'm running because when I found out that we were 49th in education, I was appalled. I was appalled and I was embarrassed. I wanted to see why we fell to 49th. And to my real dismay, we didn't fall to 49th. We actually rose to 49th. We were 50th at one point. We were terrible. Our children deserve better. That is the people that will be starting businesses. Those are the people that we will be hiring. Those are the people that will be our doctors and our lawyers and our nurses. Those are the people that are going to be making our city and our state a great, an amazing place to live. And we are doing them a disservice right now. Our teachers work incredibly hard. Our teachers deserve our support. Our teachers deserve our respect. They work incredibly hard to make sure that our students get what they need. But our society, our legislature is failing them. Our curriculum is failing them. Our system is failing them. Our teachers are fantastic, but they're not getting what they need to teach our children what they need to make sure that as they move forward in their lives, that they have the tools that they need to be successful in life, to go on to do the great things that they should do. I'm running because if you need to change healthcare providers in our state right now, it takes you 3 months minimum to get in to see a new healthcare provider. In some cases, it'll take you 4 to 5 to 6 months. Right now, certainly with the pandemic that we're having right now, it might take you longer, 4 to 5 to 6 months to get in to see a healthcare provider. We need to incentivize doctors, physicians assistants, nurses, all healthcare providers or healthcare personnel, period. We need to incentivize them to come to our great state, to our great city, to provide the health care that we all need and that we should all have. I'm running because I know what it's like to run a business. I know what it's like to hire and retain employees. I know what it's like to make sure that the economy is running as high as strong as it can be. And I have a unique perspective in that with my business life, 20 years business management experience, and I'm going to bring that to the Nevada State Senate. I'm going to bring that to Nevada. I'm going to bring free market capitalism principles to the state legislature. I believe in smaller government. I believe in more freedoms. I am a freedom Republican. I am a freedom Nevadan, and I think we all should be for more freedom and less government bureaucracy. You can visit my webpage at dowdenfornevada.com. That's DOWDEN, the number 4, Nevada.com. You can read up all about me, my family. You can donate to the campaign. You can follow our success. You can feel free to give me a call, 702-808-6513. I want to hear from all of my potential constituents. If you have issues, I would love to be able to talk to you about that. I would love people that disagree with me. If you disagree with me, I want to know why. I want to know what it is that you have to say. If you do agree with me, certainly I would love to hear that as well. But if we have differences, let me know what it is that you think. I would love to hear from you, Nevada.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dowden. I appreciate you coming in. On behalf of Veterans in Politics International, we want to thank you for participating in this endorsement interview. At this time, that will conclude our endorsement interview for State Senate District Number 11. Thank you.